Hi there, I'm Sian Reeves. Welcome to Who Cares? This is a YouTube channel for you, real people and professionals, to discuss caring, a chance to be listened to and to be heard, to share some small victories, some little wins. 600 people a day are leaving their work to become carers. 1 in 5 of us are doing over 50 hours a week of unpaid care, which equals £184 billion a year, which is a whole other unfunded NHS. Who cares? I do. Today I'm talking to Tony from Ipswich. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your mum and dad with their dementia, and also this wonderful club that you've started, the Forget Me Not Club in Ipswich, which people can look up and perhaps come and have a cheeky game of golf and a cup of tea and a coffee with you. So can we go back to when it all started for you, when you suddenly had to change your working life, I presume? Was it to look after your mum first?
I didn't actually. Dad was looking after Mum when Mum and Dad were married, weirdly.
Yeah, I'm not married. I'm still waiting.
And so they were, lived a lovely life, and then Mum started to show signs of dementia. That would be 15.
Did you know that though? 15 years ago.
No.
Was it just like, because we all forget things. Even
Yes.
me now, I'm forgetting names when I'm talking to my daughter. What made you suddenly go, oh, this isn't right?
Well, Mum always forgot her glasses and always lost her handbag, and she'd always, right from, and it was a gradual thing. And of course, it's not that long ago, but 15, 16 years ago, when she would have started showing signs, the understanding of what dementia looked like wasn't that strong like it is now.
Yeah.
So, Mum's getting forgetful, and, back in those sort of days, it was, she's lost the plot, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not in the early days, it wouldn't have been there other than jokingly, but that's sort of how it sort of used to pan out sometimes. So over a 2 or 3 year period from when she first started, it became apparent that there was something going on. So again, Dad didn't think so. He didn't understand it, though. He wouldn't have done. He wouldn't know what dementia would have been. And
yeah.
I suppose that would have been 12 years, 11 years ago, we were starting to understand what it was.
Yeah. And was he well, your dad? Was he quite fit? Was this a possible thing?
He's still here today. He's 92 now.
Wow.
And he's been in a home for 4 years. So going back again to when I really start to understand it was would have been about 7 years ago when Mum, we knew she had it. I don't know that she was ever properly diagnosed, though, because again the procedures that back then weren't like they are now, and people didn't know what it was. So which perhaps helped when Dad started to show signs, because after I tell you a bit my story. Actually, I know ever such a lot about dementia now.
Right.
So, we started to see her just gradually deteriorate and repeat herself as it was, and forget things and pretend that she was doing things when she wasn't. Dad was cleaning the house and talking for her, and we'd go around, we've got a lovely roast in for you. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that for you. But Dad was doing it all and hiding it up, really.
Yeah.
So it ended up with the very sad story that Dad was trying really hard. Mum was not really getting up much. All she ever really said was that she was always thinking she was ill, and it was what's ever wrong with me, and repeat. And of course, I can still remember going, I just told you, Mum, the worst thing you can do, and not understanding it.
Did she get distressed? Or...
Yeah, very distressed. Yeah, she had big anxiety anyway, and she was always a bit of a hypochondriac, unfortunately, a bit like me. She was always going to have something. And of course, she then fell with dementia, and she had, unfortunately, the aggressive side of dementia that would come with, Dad was struggling with her. And then this one day that really we had to put her in a home was that she was anxious to see the lady who lived across the road, and Dad locked the doors because she wanted to have a word with her about something completely random. So Dad locked the door so she couldn't get out. And while he was locking one of the doors, she climbed out of a window and got out and pushed a man off a motorbike.
Was he okay, and was she okay?
Oh, yeah, he was okay. I say pushed him off. You know, he was sitting at the junction, and she went up and just gave him a push. But when she got into the home that we had to put her in, sadly, she was wandering around in the evenings, pushing staff and calling out for Dad, and that's what she used to do, just walk around in the evening and
so
just calling out Dad.
Frustration, that was her anger about her situation.
Yes,
then it must be.
And she constantly, and as she wound down more and more, she was well cared for at a home in Ipswich. Not the most salubrious of homes, but the care was really good, and she was tidy and clean. But every time we saw her, whatever's wrong with me, all she said, that was it. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Over and over and over again.
See, this is what I worry about, is that you do know that there's something wrong with you, and it makes you so anxious and or aggressive or depressed because you know you're not your right person. Was there any drugs or anything around that you could have had at that time?
No.
For her?
No.
Nothing?
No.
And how did she deal with going into a home? I mean, how did you even get her into one?
Well, really weirdly, ever since I was probably about 12 or 13, she'd always joke, "You won't put me in the home when I get older, will you?" She always said that.
We're all saying that.
Always. And in the end, she sure went okay, to be honest. But I don't think she really knew what it was. And she went in, fortunately, not that it ended up that way, she went into a home that my granddad was actually in. And then it was knocked down and rebuilt to be the most beautiful one. It had cinema in it. But she was one of the first ones in there. So when she was in, she had, literally it was massive. It would had about 60 or 70 people with dementia in it. But when she was there was only 4 in there. And so she had wonderful care. But in the end, it went into special needs, and we'd go and see her, and her feet were all dirty. And so she was moved to where my dad ended up. So the whole long story, that she was there as well through COVID. And so that was really hard. But again, if we did see it, we did always, my sister and I and my brother, when we went and saw her, we'd always try and find that little sweet spot, as I call it, of her memory that still did carry on at that point, where you talk about her friend Lynn, or maybe her mum, and just little things that she could remember when she was a little girl, because that's usually where you go. And then ended up, unfortunately, Mum was in this home, which is at Copdock, which is just outside Ipswich, and she was fading away. But a couple of weeks before that, my dad was had to go into a home too, because after Mum had to go in a home, Dad had a really big house, and we needed to sell it because he got to obviously pay for the care. So he sold the house. I got him sorted out in a little warden assisted place in Martlesham, which you probably know, in Ipswich, which had warden care with it. Lovely, did it all up, got him a stair lift, had a wet room downstairs, had the whole gear for him all set up. We knew he was waning. And then after a very short space of time, he started to have these sort of, what do you call it, hallucinations. And then he was so unstable on his feet. Dad was always a walker, a golfer, very active, builder all his life, worked really hard, fit as a fiddle, really, and he was mid-80s at this point. But then he walked outside the house one day and tripped over the sleeping policeman that was on the floor outside, straight on his face. We gave him a stick, and then I went round one day, two times I went, and he'd just collapsed and was it was hot, so we had to put him in the home. So we arranged for him to go. He went to a home in Hadley, in Ipswich, and then really wasn't looked after very well. So he was in that home. Mum was in Copdock. Then my sister went and saw him one day, and his medication was one of the tablets was in his collar and another one on his lap. And so we thought, Mum's being looked after well. She won't know him now. He didn't know her. We'll move him. Okay. together in separate rooms. They'll never see each other, and they wouldn't know them if they did, because the care that Mum was getting was so much better than Dad's.
Yeah.
We arranged for Dad to go into the home on the Friday, and Mum died on the Wednesday.
No. So this is all a lot of management that you and your siblings.
Yes.
Have you got any tips to help people going forward? Because you're talking about it was good and then it went a bit bad and then it wasn't as good. Do you have to you're obviously going and visiting them. How do you keep an eye on all of this to make sure that they are doing all right?
It's so difficult because there isn't really an answer to everyone's needs. Everyone's different, and the amount that they have. See, that led on to me then getting into the forget-me-not golf that we do. Is that so?
Yes.
I'm struggling that Mum had passed away. No, she hadn't. Just as she was. I've been a doer my whole life. All I want to do is help. That's my life. Just help people, be nice to people, be kind to people. And couldn't help. You can't help them. You can support. I suppose you support yourself and you support the rest of your family to try and make sure that they're looked after the best they can be. But they don't know whether you see them, whether they don't know what you do. They just really don't want to get to a certain stage. They won't smile and they might look at you as though they know you. And we've had so many stories with Dad, when you think my sister particularly, because she so wants him to not be in that position. And he was much better today. He really was. And it's like, well, was he really?
Yeah,
he might have been awake.
Yes.
So I saw this out of the blue, Ipswich Town Football Club advertising that they were doing a dementia cafe, which is now morphed into the Golden Days Cafe, because people who have dementia, early signs, wouldn't go to a dementia cafe because they haven't got it.
Exactly. They won't admit to it. Yes.
So anyway, I thought I was intrigued really, because I didn't know what it would look like. So being an Ipswich fan, my dad, my whole family, my dad particularly used to take me to football, and he started me off on my stool and knew Ipswich Town inside out. He built Bobby Robson's house, who was the Ipswich and England manager.
Wow, I love Bobby Robson.
And a real closeness to Ipswich Town, and so I knew him. And the story I can go on about Ipswich Town, that's not what we're here to talk about. So I volunteered to go because I knew I'll come down and help you, and then I could see what it was. So the very first time I went to see what it was, it's people who have dementia, who realistically early signs, not even some are a little bit more further forward in their dementia, going to the ground. There was 10 big tables of 10, memorabilia. Some of the old footballers would come. We'd give them a cup of tea before they start. They have, biscuits, and you sit down and you talk to them about football. And just again, I'll probably be here all day telling you about them. But they have people coming in. But there were some other local dementia charities there, and care companies and solicitors looking to support these people with information on power of attorneys and bits and pieces. And so I spoke to this lady, Wendy, her name was Wendy Chard, and she worked for a company called Home Instead, who was a in-care home, in your own home, looking after people with dementia company.
Yes.
It's a worldwide franchise. And so I watched what happened here, and then and I know some of the old Ipswich players, but I'm not quite. One of them who came in was Russell Osman, who was it played for Ipswich in England, and he's the same age as me actually. And so these people who come in have been Ipswich supporters all their lives most of the time. So of varying degrees. So we've had people come in who are like in their late 80s, and so they can remember back then. Weirdly, because that's where the memory goes. So Russell Osman comes in, and there's somebody who's 10 years older, 20 years, 30 years older than me, can remember Russell.
Yes, and this is perfect. Because they're in that place, in that environment with the memorabilia.
So they come in and come in very... they don't understand where they are realistically, although they're at the football ground, and it is in the football ground in the Legends Bar. Yeah. Which coincidentally my dad built.
Oh my God, your dad sounds amazing.
And that's partly why, again, we're so close to it. But where they hold it is where my dad built it. not the
Oh,
stand, but
how
the bit that we
brilliant.
were in, the restaurant and
The cafe
corporate
bar.
area. Yeah, exactly. So Russell comes in. I'm sitting there. We've got a lovely, now we've got 9 full-time volunteers who support it, and you understand how you work it. So people come in for the first time with their son or with their partner, or carer, which is their partner or their husband and wife.
Yeah.
And we sit down and try and find the sweet spot. Where can you remember? So
Yes.
so if they come in and you say, you have how long you're an Ipswich fan, yeah, and usually the person with dementia doesn't answer back. It's the partner or the the son or the daughter.
Yeah.
And this one particular guy came in and he's so you were a town fan? You've been all your life? And he looked at me scared, really. And his son, yeah, Dad, you've always been. You had a season ticket for years. So I said, well, you must remember Bobby Robson, thinking, oh, that'll get him. Nothing.
Not a glimmer.
What about, so you must go back to Sir Alf Ramsey's days. Bang. Wow, yeah,
Wow.
Ralph, what a manager Ralph was. He was, and he didn't shout away like he's your best friend. So then I talk about the players of the Alf Ramsey days and, winning the league. And I've obviously got a big knowledge of Ipswich. And then they're engaging with me in such a different way. And it's like they haven't got dementia. And, one particular guy, and I went right back to 1938 or something. And he then just clicked. He said, oh, my dad used to take, I said, when did you go? What stand did you stand in? And just trying to find out where he'd go. Oh, my dad used to take me when I was really little, and we stood at the back of the North Stand, and we'd go up the back, and he'd lift me up on the stanchion, and I'd watch the game from there. And then he wouldn't stop.
Wow.
So you've got this whole bright light moment of them absolutely adoring things and having a nice time. And even the carer, partner, husband, brother, whoever it is, is almost having a break as well, because the carer is as important, if not even more important, than the person with dementia. Exactly. So the engagement of that is incredible. So the football club, which is still going, sometimes we have 100 people attend.
Wow, that's brilliant. So you just went in as a volunteer there, and now you're part of that full time.
Well, I pretty much run that with the rest of the volunteers. And
Brilliant.
The Ipswich Foundation run it, but the Ipswich Foundation is really young adults who run it, because that's part. So the engagement, and we had, if you know, and you probably heard, Ipswich won the FA Cup in 1978, and Roger Osborne scored the winning goal. And Roger is a very local, humble man who attended it, and he's absolutely brilliant with them. But he walked in to the cafe, and I saw him walk in. Yeah. And he comes in, and he's got his memorabilia, his own memorabilia, in his little Sainsbury's plastic bag. Yeah. And in the bag, he's got pictures of him marking Johan Cruyff, one of the most famous footballers ever been, when Ipswich beat Barcelona, and all these lovely stories. And it's literally screwed up in a bag. Wow. But I said to one of the people at the foundation, I'll say, look who's here. And they didn't know who he was. You've got but we do, and that's the engagement from there. So
that sounds wonderful,
brilliant. But then we move into golf, which is a completely.
So that your idea? You thought this football is great, but hang on, there's a golf thing as well that would help other people tick their honeypot. Yes.
Well, I've been. This is my 50th year of being a golf professional. So I have done everything there is possible to do in golf. Played, managed, owned my own club, So it goes on and on. So my knowledge of golf, I tell my children all the time, I don't know much, but I do know a lot about golf and quite a bit about football.
Thank God I'm not married to you. You're listening to Who Cares with me, Sian Reeves. Today I'm speaking to Tony from Ipswich. If you're enjoying listening to Who Cares, please subscribe. And if you want to get in touch and share your story, please do. I'd love to hear from you. You're always on the pitch, or whatever you call it. With
a golf club, our golf club, which I've managed now for 10 years. So I manage it, and I'm the pro, and there's I'm very modern, always been. I want inclusivity. I want it to be friendly. I want it to be open. I want it to be inclusive and not exclusive. There's no discrimination and nothing. And our club is lovely, friendly, warm, easygoing, really friendly, lovely restaurant.
Good.
Anyone's welcome. Da 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 da.
Yes.
So let's see if we can have a cafe here at the
Lovely.
club, and it's easy to park.
Yeah.
It's easy access. We're very, very open, so you can get wheelchairs in, and we're very well. And if we give them free cake, and we give them free
Cups
coffee
of
and tea, and we have games, golf games or Jenga and dominoes, but also, guess what? We can take you out onto the golf course, take you onto the range, take you onto the putting green. If you're good enough and you're able enough, you can play.
That's wonderful.
If you want to just ride in the buggy round a few holes and have a look at the scenery, you can. If you just want to walk, you can. If you just want to hit 10 balls and have a putt, that's totally up to you.
Yeah.
We have 1-to-1 ratio volunteer with people with dementia. So the carer, if they can leave them, can stay indoors.
And have a rest.
And talk with the others.
Yeah.
Or they can go home if they're able to look after themselves enough, like going to the loo, etc.
Yeah.
Or they can come and hit some balls as well if they want to. And they can sit in, usually they sit inside and they discuss their issues, which is, they're so, the stories that you hear breaks your heart, to be totally honest. But you just hear this, how, he's been up all night and then I found him downstairs because my hearing aids weren't in, so I couldn't hear him get up. And I went down and saw him and he's eaten 10 yogurts.
Yes.
And so the support that we try and give them is if they hear other people saying similar things, and then we try and help them. And we're moving it up. The Forget Me Not Golf charity we're running before we've learned to walk yet, because of the demand and the outreach of love of people going, I want to get involved, I want to help, because you're making such a difference, because we're just seeing so many people desperate to do what we do. And the stories that we hear. We had a guy in the beginning. He was Professor John Day. He set up the diabetes clinic at Ipswich Hospital. He wrote books on it. He was a fount of knowledge of it. A well-renowned guy in Ipswich and the world with his dementia knowledge. And there's a whole unit at Ipswich, a whole block that's specifically for diabetes, which he set up. So he was a golfer, and then he turned up one day with his wife at Forget Me Not Golf at the golf club. He couldn't speak. He could sort of try and speak, so it'd be a bit of a going on, and and look at you and want to tell you something, but he couldn't get it out. And he wasn't very, very good on his feet. So the first time I took him and put him on the buggy, and he was touching me on the arm and wanted to say things. And I'll talk, have you played golf before? And yeah. And he didn't really know what he was going to do. And I got him to the range, sort of got him off the buggy carefully because he was very unsteady, barely get his feet off the ground. He saw what he was going to do. I gave him a club, and they do it time and time again. They hold it like they've never forgotten. Yeah. And he held it. So as a golf pro, I go, oh, he's played before. And it's a perfect grip. I put a ball on the tee for him, and he had a little swing. Wow. And as soon as I saw him swing, I could see, he can do this. But it wasn't a full swing. And I put the ball on the tee, first one up, whack. I mean, properly hit it, high up in the air, 120 yards. Wow. His face lit up. Honestly, it lit up. And he put the club, he pointed the club head at the tee to put another ball on, almost like, do it now because I
want to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and he had another one and another one. And I can go on with a story because we've got another guy comes, Richard. He's got Down syndrome and dementia and a myriad of other things. Wow. And he comes with an oxygen tank on his back. He can't speak either. And his carer said to me a month ago, she said, you're keeping him alive.
Wow. I mean, do you find with the action that it released some speech? like you do with music, because you hit a honeypot, a memory, and then that relaxes everything, and then the speech comes out. Or sometimes afterwards when they go home.
Yes, well, there's so much. It changes them. I mean, my wife is right in the beginning. She volunteers as well, and she was on the putting green with a guy who came with a frame to walk. So he got him. She helped him and his carer to manoeuvre him around and gave him a putter, which he'd had putted before. So got him round, got the putter in his hand, put a ball down for him. So he stood there and hit it, and which was a good putt. And by all accounts, I wasn't there. And it rolled up and nearly went in the hole. And my wife looked at his carer, I think it was, and smiled. And he went. All of a sudden, his carer went, "He's forgotten he can't walk," and he was chasing after the ball.
Wow.
And it's like that's the moments, and I can keep going, and it's like so many things.
Wonderful moments. Well, how are you getting all these volunteers? Are they people who are members of your golf club, or do you put an advert in a newspaper?
No, we haven't had to do that. We put out an email to all the members. We've got quite a big membership anyway, so we've got 46 volunteers now. Brilliant. And because of the demand, we do the first Wednesday of every month. Yeah. And now we do the first Wednesday and the second Thursday of every month because of the demand. And once they come once, so we've only got a limit that we can do. We really at a maximum of 12 people.
At a time.
12 with dementia, 12 carers.
Yeah.
And 20 volunteers is a full golf club.
Yes.
But, and then, we do a 2-hour session very quickly. Because we got this like a family. So it is my Forget Me Not Golf family now, and we get sponsorship for cakes, we get support for the days, but the volunteers, once they've been, want to keep coming because it gives you so much back. It's hard, but it's so rewarding, and you build a friendship because they don't necessarily. Weirdly, they do know you time after time when they might not even remember their partner's name. It's strange. We give them all. Everyone has a badge. Everyone has their first name on. We always engage with them face to face. We all know because we're trained. So we've got a training program now completely, which we can do online or face to face, which we go out to all the clubs, because we've now got 16 golf clubs in the country working towards or giving sessions.
Wow. And this is free, is it? That you can come to for free?
Yeah, well, that's my whole thing with it is absolutely must remain free. Yeah. There's a gentleman called Anthony Blackburn who runs Golf in Society, which is the only other thing that in anywhere. So I'm the first golf professional to set this up ever in the world. So it's if you like, Anthony he's an amateur. He's not he's a chargeable, so he works with a different way, but it's the same thing. Yeah. But he also works with other disabilities as well. So and you can going down the line. Forget Me Not Golf could be Forget Me Not Football, Forget Me Not Darts, Forget Me Not Bowls.
Oh, darts, maybe not.
Well, yeah, but they still probably can remember.
Yeah, but we did something similar like with cricket, and it was extraordinary. You could see them. I was a bit worried. I was like, how on earth are we going to be practical, and hit the ball, and it worked, and it livened up, and it made them move better. It made them forget that they couldn't really move. It made them remember, as you say, how to stand and how to hold things, how to catch, and all those things are so, because that's the amazing thing about the brain, is that there aren't other ways to wiggle through, to reconnect. Even if one little pathway's burnt out and got blocked, you can make new connections by reigniting all of this. It sounds like fantastic. So you're going up to St Andrews as well, aren't you? Is that right? The best golf course in the world. Is that true?
The most renowned one in the world. We gave them one of our trustees, and he was captain of Heysham Golf Club in Lancashire. Dr. Tim Battery is one of the trustees for us, and he set up was the captain of Heysham last year. So he set the cafe up there. Is one of our in our family, and he's had such success there. He had last week. He had one of his sessions. And he had 19 people with dementia attend.
Wow,
and
so
19 carers.
And then the volunteers as well.
And the month before that, he's been around about a year now. They won Lancashire Club of the Year, and they were nominated for England Golf Club of the Year. The last three, our golf club won England Golf Club of the Year in 2023 for majority of being forget-me-not golf, because we were the first one then completely. So
Wow.
so it generates so much local community build.
Yes.
It gives and you know, we look after them so well. There's lots of things. I mean, the health and safety side of things, the safeguarding, the risk assessments that we do has to be the checking of everybody, the volunteers, all that now we've got in a platform. That platform, Ipswich have a new sponsor, and they're called Halo. And Halo is owned by a guy called Paul Hamilton, who set his business up, Halo, in his grandma's bedroom not that many years ago. Now it's a £2 billion business. And Paul has given us his charity platform so that all of the clubs that come on board now will be, so that we can keep a log of everything, and everything is done so perfectly and legally and compliant, everything else. And that's that's going to revolutionize us to be able to deliver our training. Tim is a doctor of sports science at Lancaster University, which is one of the places that is looking for the cure for dementia. And so he's using some of them, but we've put together now the training. So it's a golf specific training program. And he delivered the training to the St. Rural Club and the St. Andrews Links Trust last Thursday, which was great success with our new program. And they're doing a trial run for 6 weeks there at the Home of Golf from April, which is just amazing. And that is, I could cry now, because that for me is a legacy for people living with dementia forever. Yeah. If they continue it on, which I'm sure they will, and all the other clubs that do it. I get the same thing. We've got a club in Norfolk. We've got 3 active clubs at the moment. Dereham were the first one to come, a little 9-hole course run by, Stuart Goodman, who's such a lovely guy, the secretary there. He's embraced it. They've run with it, and Sarah, she's a trustee at Forget Me Not as well. Sarah Wicks. They're just marvelous people. But if you see their cafes running, it just breaks your heart, but it lifts you, and you're just doing so much good. And I can't really believe it's all happened. Wow. Because it's changing people's lives.
It is. And when did you start the golf one then? How many years ago?
4 years ago now.
Gosh, so that's really quickly. So if we Google for anybody who'd like to try and take their loved one, have a day, a little bit of a break themselves, which is so important for the carers, you can look up Google Forget Me Not Club.
Forget Me Not Golf.
Forget Me Not Golf.
Yeah,
and there are various.
And it's Forget Me, so it's FORE, which in golf is for. Hear up, look out. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's just wonderful. And how funny that you're doing the footy one as well. So you're very busy doing all of that. Are there any sort of top tips that you can give to anybody who wants to start something like this? Because this is what we need to generate around the country, I think. Community. We want that community. We want help. We want to talk to people. We want to go somewhere and go and sit and go, oh, I've got someone else who can perhaps keep an eye on them while I nip to the toilet. Literally that. Or have a cup of tea.
What we're doing is we're working with England Golf. So in England alone, there are 1,800 golf clubs.
Wow.
Okay, so it costs a golf club, because people, they say, well, how much does it cost if we do run one? Yeah. Actually, in the end, it becomes a sort of like a little profit centre quite easily. It's not ever I never wanted to be that, but it is. Because of the goodwill, because people want to support you. We have a local company called Auction House, and they give us money every single session that we do on Wednesdays. We have our coffee company for the golf club gave us last year 2 cases of beans for coffee. So when the golf club grinds them up and sells them, they make money. You know, when the people they're so welcome to the club, and the partners can go up and have coffee and tea and have meals if they want in the golf club, in the clubhouse, and they're welcomed, and our staff are trained to understand how they can support them. They come 2 hours before the session starts and have lunch together.
Yes.
And then once they're there, we can't get rid of them.
But you see, these safe places where staff understand someone might not be speaking back to you, might not be able to say what they want to eat, to be patient. All of this is so wonderful. I would think as a carer, I'd go, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go every Wednesday and have one meal, one day off where we can have a lovely eat. And you only do it, you see, that's quite a small group, isn't it? 12. So do you get people on a waiting list? Can they?
Yeah. And that's why
you need to do more.
That's why we're trying to roll it out. That's why we need more golf clubs to come on board. Because I reckon I could do one a day easy. And then it was never. We're learning on our feet, really. As I said, we're learning to walk before we've learned. We're running before we're
walking.
And the demand. So the England Golf, we're working with England Golf. And discussing then how we can get all of those clubs that at least have the offer. Here is our program. Here is the training. Here's how you get volunteers. This is how you get the people who have dementia. How do you get them to learn all in a package that we go, okay, England Golf, here it is. And England Golf have 16 county or look after areas in the country. They'll all be trained to go to every club and go, you don't have to do it, of course. But if you do, here it is. And once you do that, you earn the badge. So there's the little badge, Forget Me Not Golf.
Lovely. And just go a bit higher. Yeah, lovely.
So that's what we are. And if that is then into England Golf, you go onto England Golf website and it says dementia-friendly golf clubs. And it's anyone that's registered, and they are called Forget Me Not Golf Centres.
Yeah.
And so that if we got every single club doing one session, 2 hours a month only.
Yes.
Think how many people we've done thousands of sessions now.
Yeah. But it'd be lovely if it was once a week, wasn't it? Because that fresh air, going out of the house is a scary thing for the carer, and because they don't know how your loved one is going to react, and for the loved one because they've stopped going out as much.
Yeah.
So to get them out once a week somewhere where they're breathing the fresh air, they're walking, they're with people in a like-minded situation, it's genius.
And when we do the sessions with the people with dementia, we don't talk about dementia ever.
Good.
It's not that. It is, honestly, it's fun. We have a laugh. We have real fun. And it's everyone's joining in, and we go around and have a little bit of banter. Richard, the guy who's got Down syndrome, he is a massive Crystal Palace fan, and every single time he comes in full kit.
Oh,
socks, tracksuit, gloves, hats, and he's got his oxygen on, and he loves me. So we have hugs, we have high fives, and then he hits a shot, and he's pretty good. You'd go, wow, how does he do that? And then he hits a good shot, and the Crystal Palace sort of nickname is the Eagles, and then I'll go Eagles, and
he's communicating, and he's loving coming to see you. And this is what's so important, Tony. You're a genius, and everybody who wants to come, it's running at Ipswich, and look it up. FORE, Forget Me Not Golf. And then they can go to the footy one as well in Ipswich. I need to come back to Ipswich. I love Ipswich. It's such a lovely town. Tony, thank you so much for your time and all the hard work you're doing. And you're probably going to get a few more people asking to come. So you need to do it every Wednesday or something. You need more volunteers. It's once you're on this roll, it's hard to then do it once a week, but you possibly could. If you can get people there early, I don't know. They need a bit of time in the morning, don't they, to get everything going?
Yes.
So maybe it's like a lunchtime thing. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and everything that you're doing.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Tony. Take care. I'll see you soon, yeah?
Yeah, bye.